And let me continue to preach to the choir just a little bit more. Marriage. If a people, any people, were allowed to withhold the civil and inalienable rights of a minority group and reinforce their privilege as they attempted to do in the state of California by a simple majority vote, then we as African Americans would still be under the then popular bondage of chattel slavery and indentured servitude. As an African American woman who has not forgotten that less than 50 years ago in the Jim Crow South, African American citizens were denied most of their civil and human rights. And I know unequivocally that equal rights guaranteed to every citizen by the Constitution and given by God cannot and must not be subject to the will of the majority. One person who spoke out against the will of the unjust majority, Reverend Dr. King, suffered and died for it. And all of the movements to secure equal rights for people of African descent are rooted in our faith. Our leaders, Martin Luther King, Shirley Chisholm, Desmond Tutu, Fannie Lou Hamer, how am I doing? Jesse Jackson, and even President Barack Obama were and are part of the black church. And their political positions are informed by a God-inspired theology of justice for all. This is the same theology that informs me as an African American, same gender-loving pastor, and must undergird all of what we do. And we need to speak out to the SCLC on behalf of Reverend Lee. You all know the story. He came out in favor of gay marriage in California and got brought up on charges in his own organization. Any decision that provides majority privilege and power for some instead of justice and for all needs to come under the direction of who I've come to call the mother of the African American Civil Rights Movement. Coretta Scott King said, gay and lesbian people have families. And their families should have legal protection. Banning same-sex marriage is a form of gay bashing, and it would do nothing at all to protect traditional marriage. But some people have said, why don't we just settle for unions? Essentially a step-down model of marriage. It's better than nothing. It's more than we had. But I call it conditional marriage, sort of marriage, kind of marriage, near about marriage, finna be married. And I want to say clearly that I am not in favor of accepting conditional freedoms anymore in any way, anywhere. Whether it is in our government, whether it is in our churches, whether it is in our community, on our jobs, in our military, I think that we have settled for too little for too long. You see, conditional freedom, sisters and brothers, or partial liberty, is something that oppressed people tend to settle for. And I'll tell you why we settle. We accept it because what has been ingrained in us is a sense of second-class citizenship. We become satisfied when we are able to get crumbs from the table. When Barack Obama began his campaign for president, I was in California and supporting Hillary Clinton. I want to come out and say that, as this is a come-outance atmosphere that we are in right now. And when he came along, I said, bless his heart. Young man, bless his heart, from Chicago. Bless his little heart. He doesn't have a chance. And I threw my energy behind Hillary's campaign, and then I kept listening to Barack Obama. And he kept talking. And he kept saying, yes, we can.
Right.
I said, all right. He said, yes, we can. He said, yes, we can.
Yes.
And then I got up one morning and I said, well, maybe we can. And then it turned into, yes, we can. And now we're saying, yes, we did.
Yes.
It's a marvelous thing. I want to come out about it today because I believe that what is ingrained in us perhaps was not ingrained in Barack Obama. Barack's a bit of a hybrid. He is as white as he is black. Don't ever forget that. But the other thing is that he was raised in places like Indonesia, Hawaii. I don't know if he ever got the email about what we can't do. Anybody understand me?
Right.
Some of us have it sort of deep in our DNA.
Right.
We start hearing folks talking about what we can do as gay people, as same-gender-loving people, and we wonder, is that possible? And that's why we stay in churches where they beat our behinds every weekend. And we keep on coming back. We ought to be filling up affirming churches everywhere and affirming organizations everywhere. We just not altogether sure if those organizations are really going to succeed. We're waiting to see, wait for the jury to come in, because right now they don't feel like real church unless somebody's beating you up. It doesn't feel like a real organization, a real community-based organization, or a real job unless we're receiving persecution in some way. But this man kept saying, yes, we can, and you could look in his eyes and you could tell he really doesn't understand that we can't. He doesn't understand the things that are in our way, and I began to pray and I said, God, what that thing is that he has, I want that. I want to be able to understand who it is that you intend for us to be. And I want us to stop seeing ourselves through the eyes of our oppressor, but rather see ourselves through the vision that God has created for us for this time.